Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Empower Transmissions for the week of August 16th. My name is Meaghan and I'm a naturopathic doctor, somatic therapist, and intuitive healer in Calgary. Every week I channel a message from beings that are interested in the expansion of human consciousness. And so this helps us for the week ahead of energies that might be coming through, things that we might all be experiencing. So this week's message is interesting. It's about inventory. Yes, you heard that right. It's about taking inventory of what has happened so far, what is happening, and what is going to happen. And you might wonder, how does one take inventory on what is going to happen if it hasn't happened yet? But in this channel, which I'll share with you, he goes into this idea of tuning in. There has been so much activity this year. There's been so much activity over the last several years, but this year has been particularly potent for so many of us. The year of the fire horse has really held true to that energy. And it's been a wild and wonderful last couple of months. And my sense of this channel was that it was time to collect ourselves. So there's been somewhat of chaotic energy, at least that's how it's felt in my life, and I'm curious to know how it's felt in your life. But within this chaotic energy, it's easy to lose sight of what's happened or where we're going and why. Why is all of this happening and what is the purpose of it? So my understanding when I received this channel was that it was really time at this point to check in, look at what has happened. And this idea of time traveling even to look into the future and take inventory of that. I thought that was such an interesting idea that he brought through, was to, in this beautiful sense of intuiting, looking into the future and taking inventory of it. I'd never really thought of that idea before. And I wonder, as I say that and how you receive it, whether it lands for you or something in you might activate as you hear that. And perhaps as you read his channel, which I will play in a moment, this idea of taking inventory and to even integrate what has not happened yet. Yeah, you heard that right. To actually process what's going to happen in the future right now. This might not make a ton of sense right now, but I think it will. And I think as we all expand and we're able to understand more about time and how that plays out, perhaps this will be something that's possible. Perhaps it's possible for you now. Perhaps as you hear these words, it feels like, oh yeah, I get a sense of how that will be. And as we are in this turning point, as he calls it, in this time on Earth, this wild ride, we are invited to tune in, prepare for what's ahead, and even to integrate what's ahead. So I'm going to play that channel for you, and I'll see you on the other side. I think my favorite part is this idea of tuning into softness and power as an expression of love in its purest form. Like, how beautiful is that? And how many of us have pushed away our personal power because it feels scary or not allowed, or we've suppressed it for some particular reason. So often we've experienced hard things or have not felt safe to express our deepest and most beautiful, authentic power that we have. We might even have negative associations with the word power, which I've spoken about in previous channels. But this idea that that power of ours is one of the purest expressions of love that we can give to this world. That is so wonderful. I hope you can feel the energy of that. And I love how he's given some direction about what to notice, what to write down, or what to say out loud to help us integrate this inventory taking that we're doing in all segments of time, to be able to process it, to be able to work through it. These are important strategies to integrate any kind of wild time. And certainly right now we're experiencing that. And of course, there's a lot more to come the remainder of this year and next year and beyond. There was also this guidance to receive this information, this inventory, and how it's landing with us from an intuitive or maybe even somatic perspective, rather than using the mind too much to do this activity. And that makes a lot of sense if we're planning on taking inventory of things that haven't happened yet, is to lean into this in an intuitive sense, a body-based sense, rather than trying to, predict the future with your mind or whatever the case might be. So I hope that this information and these ideas make some sense to you. And even if right now you're thinking, Meaghan, how the heck do I take inventory of something that hasn't happened? Perhaps lean into that in your body. Notice as you bring that question up, that intention to take inventory of what is happening in the future, and to notice what happens in your body. See what comes up. There might be emotion. There might be sensation. There might be confusion. In the somatic world, we actually love the sense of confusion often. It's an interesting one. In some cases, it's sort of a stress state, but in many cases, it can be a state of learning. It's your nervous system typically doing something different, and that is a state of learning. And so when we get confused, it's a really beautiful place to sit with. Sometimes it can be challenging to sit in a place of confusion, especially for so many of us that want to make sense of the world. But I invite you to practice that. So we look into the future, but not with our minds, with our intuitive sense. See what comes in, sit with it, sit with the sensations, emotions, imagery that comes up, and see how that lands. And definitely write down some of these insights. So often it's easy to feel like, especially if they're profound, that we'll remember them, but I highly recommend writing this stuff down. And I would love to hear about your process and what comes up for you. And I hope that this message leaves you with some inspiration and things to focus on for this week ahead that he's labeled as a turning point. So here we are at sort of the turning point of the year, if you will. And I'm so excited to see what comes next. So that's all we've got for you this week, and I will see you next week.